morning, Bucknutters. Welcome to the Bucknuts Morning 5 here on Wednesday, May 18th, 2016. I am Dave Biddle, and I am very happy to be joined by former Ohio State star running back Beanie Wells. Beanie, so good to talk to you. Thank you for your time this morning.
Oh, man, I appreciate you having me. How's everything going?
Oh, it's going great, and I know things are going great for you too, my man. Let's talk about what you're doing now. You have your own show here in town on 97.1 The Fan, Tim and Beanie. First of all, I don't know how Tim got the first name in there. It should be Beanie and Tim, in my opinion. But 97.1 The Fan, Tim and Beanie, every Monday through Friday from 10 a.m. to noon. That is pretty cool stuff, my man. You have your own radio show. Talk about that a little bit.
Oh, that's going great. It's a situation that, I was doing a Buckeye show there, and, we actually moved up about a month ago, and it's been going amazing ever since. Me and Tim have good chemistry there, and the show is full of laughs, full of fun, all sports, all things Buckeyes. I love it.
Yeah, Tim's a good guy. He turned me on to the orange chicken at Trader Joe's. I highly recommend that for anybody who goes to Trader Joe's. If you like frozen chicken, like little Chinese, it's the way to go if you can't get real Chinese. But, hey, talk about this, Beanie. I saw one of your former teammates, Tim Hightower, congratulating you on Twitter for getting your own show. Is this something that you envisioned back when you were at Ohio State that, hey, I'm going to play in the NFL for a while, and then eventually I want to get into media? Is this something you thought of when you were at Ohio State, or is this something maybe that came about when you were in the NFL?
You know what? I actually thought about this before I was at Ohio State. While I was in high school, my mom and dad always harped on, having a backup plan. Even if I did go on to, make it in the NFL and play a number of years, what was I going to do after? At the best case scenario, I was going to be done playing football when I was 30 years old. So I had a whole life to live, and I couldn't just be a guy that sit around at home because that's not what I was used to, not what I've seen growing up. So I've always liked sports, and not just football, all sports. And I always liked being a kid in the barbershop and hearing everybody just rant and rave about the latest game and what transpired. And, that's where I found my passion, for, wanting to be a part of the media, wanting to be a part of broadcasting.
Yeah, you're a natural at it, and it's just, I'm just so tickled pink that you, everything worked out well for you. You were a first-round pick, so you got your first-round signing bonus money. You played your 4 years. You got out with your health still intact, and now you're doing what you've always wanted to do on top of playing football. You get to talk about sports. I'm just happy for you. You've always been such a good guy, and just very happy the way it's worked out for you. Before we get to a few other issues, hey, just looking back on your outstanding Ohio State career, I'm sure so many things come to mind when you think about your Buckeye career. But when you do think back on it, Beanie, what comes to mind the most? Like, what's like the first thing you might think about when you look back on your Buckeye career?
Obviously, I'm always thinking about the negatives. And the negative is having the opportunity to play in two national championships and losing those games. Because, it's not every day, you get an opportunity to play one of those things, let alone two of them, and lose both of them. That's devastating. But when I go to the positive, I miss the relationships. I miss, being around my buddies on a daily basis, hanging out, just being college kids and doing something we all love, and that's play football. I had some great memories there at Ohio State, being with Coach Tressel, being with my best friends, Brian Robisky, Boomhand, and Lawrence Wilson. Those guys were amazing. And it was just a time of life having that experience there at Ohio State. I couldn't have picked a better place to go to school. I've written a better script for myself as far as college as a whole.
Yeah, I covered both those games, and that 07 game in the Superdome. First of all, I think LSU, a little bit of a home field advantage there, to say the least, with some of the calls that night. But, man, did you get that game started well for the Buckeyes with that long run. You stiff-arm that safety, that All-American safety to the ground with your patented stiff arm. What a way to get it started with that long touchdown run. Hey, switching gears real quick, I found this so intriguing, Beanie. Adolphus Washington, another one of my favorite guys that I've covered. I've known him since he was in high school. He almost quit 2 years ago when, the national championship season. This story just came out on Bills.com yesterday. We talked about this on 97.1 The Fan yesterday. Adolphus Washington, 5 games into his junior season, so the national championship season, he wanted to quit football. He called home and told his dad, I am quitting. Now, they had a meeting with Urban Meyer, Larry Johnson, Adolphus Washington's dad, and, everything worked out well. He stayed on the team. They win the national championship. Nice happy ending. He's now a third-round pick. But I find this very intriguing. My question for you, sir, is, how often does this happen? Is this pretty commonplace where guys talk about quitting, almost quit, maybe even quit and then come back? Just how often do college football players go through this, Beanie?
You know what? I think it happens more often than people realize. And one of the reasons why it happens is, it's not easy. It's tough. It's strenuous, especially when you're at a program like Ohio State, where so much is demanded of your time and expectations on the football field. And, I can imagine playing for a coach like Urban Meyer, who is very detail-oriented and has high expectations for his guys. It isn't easy. And even when I was in school, guys were playing for Coach Tressel. It happened just because guys really didn't fully understand when you come from high school how much time you have to put into this craft. And we all know, you're labeled a student-athlete, but, you spend just as much time, if not more, over there at the Woody Hayes Athletic Facility than you do in the classroom. And it takes up majority of your time. You don't really get the experience that a normal college kid would actually get out there. And, dealing with the practices, dealing with the meetings, it's a long, strenuous process. And, if everybody could do it, everybody would, and it'd be easy. But it's not easy, and that's why everybody doesn't do it.
Last thing before I let you go, Beanie, really appreciate your time. Let's talk about the 2016 Buckeyes. When I see some of these pundits coming out with their too early rankings, now there are some exceptions. I see like Athlon has Ohio State number 3. There's some others that have them in the top 5. But I've seen, people have them as low as 18th and saying they're the 3rd best team in the Big Ten. And I understand the Buckeyes just lost a ton of talent to the NFL, but curious to get your take on this. Do you think the Buckeyes are a little bit of an underdog in the Big Ten this year, some pundits think, or do you think the Buckeyes will win the Big Ten? Just what's your take on that?
Well, I think, obviously, when you're at Ohio State, you're never going to be the underdog in the Big Ten. It's just hard to believe that people think the Buckeyes will finish number 3 when they're coached by Urban Meyer, a guy that's only lost 4 games in his Ohio State career. It's just crazy. Do I think we'll win the Big Ten? Absolutely. I think we have a lot of guys coming back. And let's not forget the guys we have coming back and the guys we lost. We have a lot of in the foxhole waiting their opportunity to get a chance to play. So I think those guys would be more than ready, more than capable of stepping in. Now, when you lose a guy like Ezekiel Elliott, a big play guy, a guy that, kind of was the engine and the driving force for the team, that's going to be tough to replace. But I think at the other positions, we got JT coming back. I think Mike Weber's going to be a phenomenal running back. Raekwon McMillan on the defensive end. I think we have some pieces filled already, and it's not going to be much of a drop-off. I know we lose a lot of talent across the board. We talk about how many guys win the draft. You're going to sit here and they're going to have to rebuild. But I don't think it's going to be as big and as long as a process as everybody else thinks.
I lied to you. I have one more question for you. Since you brought up Mike Weber, I agree with you. I think he's going to be the starter. Have you talked more about that? You think he's going to be an outstanding running back? Just talk more about Mike Weber. Do you think he'll be the starter? And just give me your thoughts on Mike Weber.
I do think he'll be the starter. He's a guy that is very, very good between the tackles. And here at Ohio State, we know that's something that you have to do. I also think he can hit their home run. He's a slasher as well. He can run inside, outside. The biggest thing for him that he's going to have to be able to do, and that's protect the quarterback. That's something that he was so good at last year, his play without the football. If he can duplicate that, I think we'll be just fine at the running back position.
He is Buckeye legend Beanie Wells, one of the best running backs in Ohio State history. He was a first-round NFL draft pick by the Arizona Cardinals, all-around great guy. You can catch him Monday through Friday, 97.1 The Fan from 10 a.m. to noon, Tim and Beanie Show. Mr. Chris Wells, thank you so much for your time, sir.
No problem. Thank you.